Gary White. I'm down at the Springfield City Hall, and I'm here with Tom Duncan Reed from Springfield, who is the oldest Springfield Rotarian, been in the Rotary the longest period of time. How many years have you been in Springfield Rotary Club?
In Rotary, 59 years.
59 years, that's great. That's great. The Springfield Rotary Club was meeting down at City Hall today, and actually it's something new because you used to meet at Corneli's restaurant, and this was your first meeting here, right?
Right. This was, I assume it's a temporary situation. The city was nice enough to allow us the facilities, and so we've got to work out a permanent meeting place.
Right.
We have 25 members, and so every week, I mean,
you got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Reed here, like we said, has been in the Rotary Club for 59 years. So you've seen a lot of changes go through Springfield and the Rotary Club here, haven't you?
Right.
Yeah. Including places where you meet, I guess. How many different places can you remember where you've been meeting for the Rotary Club?
I can remember 5.
Where are they? Not including here.
Margaret's place up on the hill.
Mm-hmm.
And there was 2 restaurants downtown here. Hubbard's Cupboard.
Okay.
And another one was Claybrook's restaurant. And then we've met out to
Links.
Mm-hmm.
Not
and
Pernelli's.
it's changed its name.
Right, Pernelli's.
Yep. So this pretty well answers the question, I think.
Guess you moved all around.
Yes.
Okay. Well, tell us about 59 years. Why have you stayed in Rotary Club for so long?
Well, I thought it was such a great answer for the people to expound on the service above self.
Mm-hmm.
That's our motto.
Right.
And so this is one of the reasons that I worked so hard in it myself. So I've served as president of the Rotary Club. I've served the state as district governor of Rotary twice.
Oh, really?
10 years separating the two.
Uh-huh.
And I've served the international aspect of Rotary it's been about 18 years ago.
Wow.
And I served as international director of Rotary.
Huh.
And this was a 2-year term, but the thing that I like to expound on was the fact that out of the board of directors, the 17 of us were, 5 of us were from the US of A, the rest of them from all over the world.
Wow.
So here's a little old country boy on the board of directors of Rotary International.
Wow.
And so
where were your meetings held for that? Where'd you have to go for that?
Well, all over the world.
Really?
We would have 4 board meetings a year, and I was on 2 years. So we might meet at Sydney, Australia. We might be in London, England, maybe Buffalo, New York, or just, you know, different places.
Wow, that must have been very interesting.
My wife got to travel with me.
Well, that's good.
And all of our expenses were paid. Usually they flew us to the countries that we were going to be meeting.
Uh-huh.
But it was quite an experience for me.
I bet.
Being an old country boy.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. You actually have lived in Washington County your whole life, right?
Well, yes, I married a girl from down here at Mooresville.
Uh-huh.
And we've had about the same amount of years married as in Rotary, 59 years.
Wow.
And
so that's a big year for you.
She and I produced 7 children.
Uh-huh.
I say produced, I mean that's a tough word to digest.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, we've been very fortunate in our daily lives. She belongs to the Methodist Church, and I go to the Catholic Church. So we've had this as a challenge, but she seemed to have stood it, and fortunately for me, it seems like I stood it. And
good. So, tell us about a little bit of your work history too. You grew up here in Washington County.
yes, I went to St. Dominic's parochial school, and I went on to college, and when I was 16 or 17, I joined the National Guards here.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, we were a cavalry then.
Really?
We had horses.
Really?
And so on war maneuvers, we were sent up to Wisconsin to Camp McCoy, and we had war maneuvers with our horses. But then when we got ready to leave to come back home, they told us that our horses were gone. They were going to be shipped out to Camp McCoy out west, and so they sent us back, and they made us anti-aircraft artillery.
Uh-huh.
So that's what we spent on. I was overseas 3 years and 3 months, and we spent all of our time fighting the Wehrmacht.
Uh-huh.
The Wehrmacht.
Uh-huh. Wow.
And we didn't shoot down too many planes, but we had a lot of potential kills.
Mm-hmm. Huh. So you were over there for 3.5 years, correct?
Well, we're 3 years and 3 months.
Okay. Okay. And then you came back to Springfield?
Came back here, and then I wanted to go to work with my brother, but we didn't have a meat department. So we decided that I should go to work someplace and learn the idea of meat cutting. And so I went to Louisville and worked for Kroger. And
Okay.
They ultimately learned that I was trying to infringe on their hospitality, and so they let me go. I came back home. Well, I'd learned enough that I could start a meat business, and so for the next several years I was the meat cutter at our grocery.
Mm-hmm. Reed's Foodland?
Reed's Foodland.
Right. Right on the... Was it
was
on
up
Main
there
Street
where the
then?
building is now,
Uh-huh.
and we're still trying to sell the building. Hopefully somebody will decide they want to go there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So how long were you in the grocery store business?
50 years. I
Okay.
call it 50 years. But along with that, I was with my brother, and I was with my 2 sons, and that was counted. That part of my work.
Experience?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. So then you retired, I take it?
Yes, I'm retired,
Yeah.
and my wife is she's still very active, and she's going to the doctor today, but she couldn't find out where she's supposed to go, so I don't know whether I'll have a wife when I...
Oh, we hope you do.
Yeah.
We hope you do. Okay, now tell us about some of your experiences here in the Rotary Club. We know you had a lot of experiences international and nationally, but what locally with the Springfield Rotary Club, what are some of your highlights?
Well, when the Rotary Club voted on myself and a fellow by the name of Dick Ward, whom I was in competition with in the grocery business.
Oh, really?
And we both came in on Christmas Day to the Christmas banquet the Rotary Club was having. And the president of the Rotary Club was the president of the state bank, Mr. Waters.
Okay.
And since then, I mean, I have worked on various projects, just like the project you saw here this afternoon, the high school. And of course, oh, let's see, I lost my train of thought there. I was after high school, I dropped out of school, and that's when I joined the Army, National Guards. And because I liked horses, and I thought, well, that's a good thing to be in,
right?
Cavalry.
Exactly, the cavalry. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
But
you're still active now, 59 years later, with the Springfield Rotary Club.
Well, not as active as I would like to think I am, but I just can't.
But you're here for the meetings, right?
I'm here.
Exactly, you're here for the meetings.
Thank you.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, we're glad that we could meet and talk with you about.
Well, it was certainly gratifying to know that y'all had enough interest in me to want to sit down and.
Oh, no. We're grateful you were able to meet with us.
But one of the highlights of my experience overseas was that I ran into a German roadblock and was taken prisoner by the Germans, and there was about 15 of them, I remembered, and they were traveling with something similar to what I would see, but they had ammunition boxes, and they were trying to get to this bridge across the Rhone River. The Rhone, not the Rhine, but the Rhone. And it was in France, and it's real interesting that my son, who is a member of the Bardstown Rotary Club, is taking a group of study team to that part of France that I was taken prisoner in.
Really?
And he's planning on trying to meet some of the people over there.
Yeah.
But as the case turned out, I escaped, not escaped, the prisoner that was guarding me died.
Oh.
And we didn't know at the time, but we could see the position he was lying in, that he was wounded, and this boy that was with me, that was captured with me, he said, "Let's make a break for it." I said, "Well, let's go." So we ran, and we ran right into one of our patrols, and they asked us to go on back to the headquarters and report on what we recognized about these Germans. And 13 of these Germans were killed down below the bridge that night.
Wow.
So whether they would have been killed had we not reported it. But anyway, that was one of my highlights of
being in the war.
During the war.
Yeah. What's been one of your highlights here with the Rotary Club?
Well, my serving as district governor on 2 occasions. That encompassed all of Kentucky. That draws a line down between Newport and Covington, that part of Kentucky. We're western Kentucky, and the other one's eastern Kentucky. And we just had our district conference in Louisville at the Galt House last week, and it was quite an experience. You know, have you been to the Galt House? Beautiful place, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And
so you really enjoyed your experience with the Rotary Club?
Yes. And my son got to introduce his team that he's taken to on June the 2nd. He leaves to go to France. And
it's a family affair then for you and the Rotary Club, huh?
Right.
That's great. That's great.
And we have what we call a Paul Harris fella. Paul Harris was a fellow that organized Rotary the first time in 1905. And to honor him, we have a pin most of us wear it. I don't have mine on me now. But it's called the Paul Harris pin. It's a contribution of $1,000 towards education. So my wife and I both are Paul Harris Fellows. And the president, we were attending the convention in Chicago, and the president chose to make my wife a Paul Harris Fellow. Had a nice special occasion, and he pinned this pin on her. So that's one of our highlights of our experience. And
that's great.
There's so many things that I could expound on.
Yeah, so much stuff that you've seen and done. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Well, you
on.
I appreciate your congratulations, but I laid awake last night trying to think of everything you want to ask me. But you've done a great job.
Oh no, thank you. Thank you for answering all our questions.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, thank you.